what's up, guys? I'm here with Anthony Henry. We're here at Bloodsport, Atlantic City. Going to talk some things regarding Evolve, some things regarding Bloodsport, but off the bat, man, how's it feel to be here in Atlantic City?
It feels good, man, because I was stuck in Louisville, and it was really hot, and really, the weather's a lot better up here, the scenery's a lot better. Walked in my hotel, and our hotel's at the end of the hall, and at the end of the hall is this a big window where you can see like the ocean, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome, right? Sweet view. Awesome, man. So before we get into Bloodsport and anything like that, I just want to talk about the run that you've been on in Evolve. So I'll go back to the Roddy match. That was a banger, man, for a lack of better words. That was awesome.
Thank you. That one was fun. He's obviously, he's Roger Strong. Everybody knows him. Everybody's seen what he's done over several years, last decade, whatever. He's a beast. But yeah, that was a fun one. I had a lot of fun doing that one. It was rough. It was tough.
Yeah, it looked it. It looked it. Your guys' styles meshed well together.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very physical.
Yeah, for sure. It was a striking bout. After that, I mean, maybe a month later, I think was the Evolve anniversary show on the network. How was that, and how did that differ from other shows? Maybe backstage, everything, really.
It was. I mean,
unusual,
it was crazy just because of what it was and the history, for the building we were at, and the fact that we were coming to that specific building on the anniversary, and the fact that the anniversary was going to be aired live on WWE Network. So it was a crazy atmosphere. And the thing is that we didn't know about that until like 2 weeks before, maybe. When they told us it was gonna happen.
That
so
was
we didn't.
going to be on the network.
Yeah. So we didn't really have a whole lot of time to at least me, I didn't have a whole lot of time to process it. I was just like, oh, well, that's cool. And then get there, and it happens, and we pull up, and you got the WWE production truck outside, parked out there. We're like, oh, okay. Right. And then do the show, and that's when it processed. I actually got to process it, how big of a deal it was, So it was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I thought it was a great showcase for you guys. Evolve's been killing it. One of the top 3, if not 1 or 2, of the best, independent companies in the country, right?
For sure.
You guys are booming. And then after that, you had a rematch with Arturo Ruiz. That was Evolve 133.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with which
right, all the numbers and everything, but I knew it was the night before what I wanted to talk to you next, JD Drake. So what's your thoughts as a whole on that whole situation?
I don't want to speak too much on it. I'll just say, obviously, there's some issues that we're dealing with, and we got the shows coming up actually next week, and we're gonna have Workhorsemen versus Workhorsemen. And in a lot of ways, that's exactly that's what I wanted. And there's some reasons that I'm not really gonna go into right now because I just don't want to go there. But just keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you tune in and watch that specific match, because that's gonna be a lot of fireworks, and it's gonna be something to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that one. I mean, it's bigger than just your average match. For sure. Even to us fans, but of course for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of history and just so much, but that's gonna be a roller coaster. That's gonna be the one to watch on that show. Yeah. Walter's there, he's wrestling Cassius Ohno, but in all fairness, JD Drake versus Anthony Henry is going to be the match to watch that night.
I agree. I fully agree with that. Speaking about Evolve, again, I think it was maybe that same weekend. You tapped out the Evolve champ, didn't you?
I did.
Was that?
Whole thing went in there, and Austin Theory being Austin Theory, the arrogant prick that he is, I straight up told him, I said, I want your respect. I want you to shake my hand after I beat you. So I did what I said I was going to do. I beat him, and then I made him shake my hand. But that wasn't it, because, you know, honestly, what are we in this for? It's competition, it's profession. We make more money when we have championships, right? We get more buzz when we have championships. So, you know, at the end of it, I said, you know, that's not all I want. I do want that title shot in the future. So it's there. I've earned it at this point. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen as long as he holds on to it. So we'll see what's gonna happen with that, when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that. Like I said, I think you deserve the shot. You tapped out the champ. Usually that's how it goes.
Right.
I was waiting for you to get included in that triple threat the next night, but
they didn't let me.
Some other things went on, yeah.
Right. Which, you know, everything happens for a reason, and including what happened afterwards at the end of that night. So, you know, we'll see where all this goes. I'm not going to say too much about it, like I said, but just stay tuned,
guys,
stay in the loop, you'll see.
This is true. All right, jumping course to Bloodsport. Now you've got a match up with Zachary Wentz tomorrow. I was at the press conference last night. A couple people had asked a question about Zachary Wentz and his background.
Yeah.
Does he have MMA training? Does he have this? Doesn't seem like he does. Whereas on the other hand, you're 2-0. You're undefeated professionally, correct?
Yeah.
In MMA.
Right.
So, I mean, you've got the background.
I do, but also Zachary Wentz does have a background. I'm not entirely sure how in-depth that background is. I don't know if he only had amateur fights. I did see a little clip of him fighting several years ago. Like I said, I don't know what the extent of it was, but I know he was an amateur wrestler, so he at least has that, and that's like probably the biggest base, in my opinion, the strongest base you can have for MMA is wrestling. So I don't expect to walk through him or anything like that. You know, he's more than just flips, I promise.
For sure. No, I mean, we expect a hard fighting, fast matchup with you guys. It's 2 speed guys, 2 strikers. I mean, it should be good. It should be a really good.
It's gonna be what the kids call a banger.
Definitely is gonna be a banger, for sure. Now, just speaking of NXT, now it looks to a lot of the outside fans that Evolve wrestlers are getting plucked to NXT. Specifically, not, you know, they've gone elsewhere as well, but it almost looks like a pipeline. How do you feel about that? And are you having your options open elsewhere, or is NXT maybe the end goal?
Well, I think it absolutely is the pipeline. I think that's by design, right? So, you know, obviously working closely with WWE, working closely with NXT, that's the whole point of it, right? Is we're in Evolve to evolve, and that next evolution is, you know, the next step up is NXT. So that's who I'm with. That's who, you know, I got the contract with Evolve. I'm there at least for another year, I believe, on that contract. So for the time being, that's what I'm doing. So if NXT is the next evolution, because, you know, we don't have enough puns already in this conversation, yeah, if that's the next step, then of course that's what I want to do. You know, we're all about it's a profession. Again, like it's my career. It's how I make money. So yeah, I want to do that. So NXT is the next step for that.
Awesome. And we could definitely see you there. Your style meshes perfect with a lot of the guys there. There's dream matchups. I could go on. I mean, the Roddy one was one that already happened.
Yeah.
We'd definitely like to see the rematch. Gargano. I mean, there's tons. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So speaking of NXT, now Wednesday nights is going to be going on. NXT, AEW. There's a lot of debate online. Who are you going to watch again? As a fan, as somebody to watch it, who are you going to watch everything? Are you the same way, or are you going to, you know, in your spare time when you're not wrestling or training, what do you watch, and will you be watching both on Wednesdays?
I watch so much wrestling, it's insane. You know, it's for me, I think it's like just, I do watch as a fan, but I watch a lot just studying, you know, because it's, for me, man, like when I get into something, I am all the way in, and so it's almost like OCD for me. I'm always thinking about improving and getting better, and whatever element that is lacking is improving that part of it, so I can bring my whole game up. So yeah, I watch so much wrestling, and I watch everything. I watch everything from NXT, you know, to whatever indie wrestling is going on that I hear about, to what I probably watch the most of, which is Japanese wrestling. New Japan, Noah. I watch all of it, but like, even DDT, whatever. I watch, and then like if I just hear about matches, or if I'm on the Twitterverse and I see fans raving about a particular match, I'm not saying they're always right. I'm not saying it's necessarily a 5-star match or whatever, but a lot of times it's at least good. You know, a lot of people
check it out.
right. So you know, if enough people are talking about it, there's probably something to it. So I'll go check it out. And yeah, so I watch everything.
In 2019, I was going to say 2019. It's just you can watch it.
Yeah, it's there.
You know, finished up with the press conference. Like, oh, let me watch that Amazing Red and Will
I
Ospreay match.
haven't
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Put it on my phone, and it's just like it's so convenient. It's right there. It's awesome.
I heard it was good.
I heard that. Yeah, it was awesome. Check it out. It was great. The crowd was super nuts for it. It's great, man. So growing up, so you watch a lot of wrestling. Now, growing up, what wrestling, I guess in the 90s, got you into wrestling? What plucked you first?
Okay, so what plucked me first? First wrestling I was really exposed to was old WCW. So like specifically Surfer Sting was like my first favorite wrestler.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So
Sting was awesome.
when I first started wrestling, like it was like late 80s, early 90s. So it was like maybe 89, like 90, something like that. So, you know, I remember like, for example, going to my brother's house, and I was such a wrestling fanatic that back in the days of like, you know, pay-per-view, where, you know, he had purchased like the Super Brawl 2 or whatever, where Sting and Luger wrestled the Steiner brothers. And that's like still like one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, right. If that doesn't get you into it,
I think maybe even just for nostalgia purposes, but you know, whatever reason,
right,
I can still watch
it. And you remember the
I
whole...
can watch that match now and still like be like thoroughly entertained.
That's awesome.
And then like later on, I got into all of it. I'd watch everything that came on TV. So and then WWF with Sean. Sean was still one of my favorite all-time wrestlers. Brett. All those guys, Mr. Perfect, and then it kind of sort of progression. So then it like kind of went to, you know, a little bit of the ECW was coming up. So it was like RVD and these guys. I was like, cool, these guys are cool.
Awesome.
And then when, you know, Nitro and Raw was happening, then it became all of the cruiserweights. I was watching like Benoit and Malenko and Jericho and Guerrero, and those kind of ended up becoming like the guys that were like my real long-term like influences for those guys.
Absolutely. I was going to say, are they a lot of your inspirations as well?
Yeah, I would say so. Like Benoit, especially like Benoit and Guerrero. And then if you want to go one step further, then I really got into Japanese wrestling, which probably is, I guess you would say, probably stylistically has influenced me more than anything.
I can see that.
Especially like the shoot style, I guess, you know, like Minoru Tanaka and like some of the Sawa and Kudo Adaka and some of those guys, like they were just, you know, shoot style guys that would kind of like mix in the pro wrestling with the shoot style. Which is kind of like
which is basically your style.
that's what I try to do. Like, you know, obviously tonight Bloodsport is gonna be a little bit different, but like when I'm in the context of like professional wrestling, I try to kind of mix the two together and have a nice little, you know, baby.
Yeah, it's a good hybrid baby to make. Speaking of New Japan and things maybe down the line in the future, NXT I think is on the horizon for you. And, you know, personally, I think that's awesome. I think that's the next step. That's great. Maybe someday down the line, you see yourself in the G1.
Oh man, like
No, I'm sure it's a dream.
So like honestly, if we're talking about like what I want, it would have been Japan. Like that was always my goal, career-wise. Like if I went to Japan and wrestled in Japan, like I'm done. Like I'd be happy if I just did one tour, wrestled there, like did my thing. Like I'd be happy with that. I could quit and I'd have no regrets.
Say you've done it, you've done over there.
Right.
It's where you've always wanted
You know,
to be.
go eat some authentic ramen, all that good stuff. But you know, Japan is not on the horizon for me that I know of. You know what I mean? Because like, you never know who's watching you, but I've never spoken to anybody from Japan. I don't even know how to go about that. That's like a tough thing, and it's kind. I think it's one of those things that kind of, if it happens, it happens. You know, for you. You know, if you meet the right people, whatever it is. So that may not be in the cards, but if it is, that's great. I would love that. But right now, what is in the cards is, you know, what I have, which is Evolve and possibly NXT, and we'll So we'll go that route. And we'll see. Let's see what happens. We'll go with the flow.
Excellent.
Like tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Going for the win.
Sounds good, man. Well, listen, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're just getting in. Pumped for tonight, man. So
Yeah.
let you get settled in, but it was nice chatting with you.
Yeah.
Go follow.
Thank you.
And why was it Ant?
It's Anthony. So that's like an old people in high school nicknamed me that.
My
for some
cousin's
reason.
Ant. We call him Ant.
Anthony, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
I kept that. So ANTNY Henry, and then that's at to Twitter, that's at Instagram, and
Go
the
follow
Facebook,
all.
I believe. Follow it all.
All right, check him out and check us out at the Lariat Pro Wrestling, the Lariat PW at Twitter, and get